Hey guys, Ryan and Greg here, and some exciting news for Season 10 of American Horror Story. Of course, we've shared our theories, we've seen a bunch of photos, but now we get official announcement of the title of Season 10.
That's right, AHS double feature. 2 horrifying stories, 1 season. 1 by sea, 1 by sand.
Hey yo, what the
All right, Greg, so we're going to spend the next few minutes trying to break that down, what the hell it means for the upcoming season of the show. We also asked you guys in the comments to share your best guesses and predictions for what the title would be. I don't know if any of you guys got it correctly, but we're still going to share these at the end of this video, so make sure you stick around to the very end.
If they got it, if someone did, then that means we found Ryan Murphy's burner account. So let's check it now. Well, of course, if you enjoy this content, then hit that like and subscribe button so you can check out all of our American Horror Story videos right here on the channel.
All right, Greg, American Horror Story double feature. What was your immediate reaction when you saw Ryan Murphy's video posted on his Twitter and Instagram?
First, it was like, oh, are Brad and Janet involved? I'm sorry, Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Janet?
The first thing I thought was, okay, that can't be the title. And then it immediately dawned on me that, you know, I bet this is the title. I don't think they're going to change it. I feel like this is something very in line with American Horror Story, the camp, doing a double feature, grindhouse vibes. I'm all in. And this is something that it feels a lot like what they were almost going to do for Apocalypse. That was 2 stories. It honestly felt like it. Even 1984, it kind of had like this cut once you got past Red Dawn. But this is a definitive 2-story season, and I'm all for it. Whatever it is, bring it to me.
Yeah. My reaction was the same. It was kind of like, wait. Is that the actual title? Like maybe, you know, the end of this video we'll see the actual title. I thought maybe it was just kind of a play on like, you know, like the double feature, classic B movies. A lot of horror flicks like, you know, the double feature is like a really fun aspect of watching movies, right? Of kind of like some lesser caliber movies, but watching a couple back to back. So I like the idea of the double feature, and I think that you and I agree that sometimes some of the seasons of American Horror Story are kind of stretched out. Like one idea is kind of stretched out a little bit too long. You know, we've seen seasons go 10, 11, 12, 13 episodes long. So the idea of breaking like this up into 2 stories, or maybe it'll allow for, the actual story to kind of run its course and then be completed and not kind of be stretched like too long than it needs to be.
Also, this might have something to do with the cast, since we're, bringing the OGs back together. We'll talk about that a little bit more later, but maybe this is how they have like half the cast, in, for all we know, on the East Coast, and then we know they're going to be filming in LA later, so maybe it's a completely different cast there. 2 different stories, 2 different timelines. Who knows? I'm all for it.
Yeah, let's talk about the timeline. We did hear from Finn Whitrock's comments about how the structure of this season is different from any other season. Now, we've seen like Roanoke play with structure a little differently in how they told that story with kind of the meta commentary and the show within the show. But structure-wise, maybe they do like, present-day stuff in Provincetown, and maybe they do some old-school stuff, some, back in the 1600s. Maybe they have flashbacks, and there's like two stories kind of going on at the same time.
I think you're close. I think they wouldn't have done a double feature though. That's because they do that almost every season. They go back and forth.
Yeah.
1 second you're in 1984, the next 1952 for a whole entire episode. So it could be anything. But I think that they're very clear here, just like with 1984 when they're like, hey, what's the season going to be about? Well, 1984 slasher film, and that's it. So this season it's the same thing. Like double feature. No, you guys are playing with this. It's going to be this. No, they're gonna say, look, there's 2 plots with two main cast, and I think that's where they're gonna go here. One cast is, who knows, takes place in present day, and the other cast, for all we know, could be, which I hope it's on the Mayflower or something. They say by sea, so the other story is completely told in the ocean. So that's where I'm going right now. 2 completely different stories, but they will link up somehow, and probably linking up by the monsters themselves.
I love that idea, Greg, of being the connection through the monsters. Now, we have seen one image of the monsters, looks like 2 of them. Whenever I see like see double feature, and then I saw those two images. There's a connection there, obviously, but I don't know if that's like the end all be all villain that we're going to see at the end of the season. It kind of has vibes of the Black Flash, which we've talked about previously.
Also, Salem's Lot, vampires. It goes also with a lot of Salem's Lot vibes. So I thought the title was just going to be, at the end of the day, Night Shift or Night Surf or something, which it could. Hey, that could be the two titles for the double feature if you're going to go Stephen King route, because I just totally got the vibes of Stephen King.
But when I think about the structure again and what we saw in this teaser today, and it said specifically one by sea, one by sand, two different stories. And then we know that they've been in Provincetown, obviously, one by sea, a story there. Now they're going back to LA, like you mentioned, to film the rest of it or whatever they have left. And then I think of desert. I think of like, they show sand like by the beach. You think that'd just be like the sea, like the ocean, maybe some ocean creatures, sirens you talked about. But then, for some reason, like I'm kind of reading between the lines here, and it feels like maybe one is like kind of oceanside vibes and one is desert, and that we're gonna go like into the LA or Southern California desert and get some completely different, kind of vibe and an obvious structure change and setting change and story change that we've seen in this season.
Yeah, they're totally playing with that phrase there. I completely agree that it looks like, again, since we already know that they're going to LA in the first place to go film, put them in the desert.
Greg, how do you think half the cast would feel if they were like the ones that were stuck in the desert filming, and the other half was hey, the East Coast was great, and then the rest of them are like Evan Peters is just like, I'm sweating my ass off.
I'd be pissed.
This sucks.
It would be terrible. You get, one group's up and like, oh man, we're just having the grandest time. Everyone's following the safety protocols for COVID. And now you're like, oh, where's the rest of the cast? They're going to LA in front of the anti-vaxxers and everyone. It's a mess. Sorry, everybody. I'm sorry, Evan Peters, if they stuck you in Death Valley.
Now, like many of you probably, as soon as you saw the words double feature, you're just kind of like racking your brain for like, where have I heard this before? What kind of connections can I make? Well, I looked it up and I saw something called Creature Double Feature, which was a horror show that was broadcast in the 60s, 70s, 80s. And it has that same vibe of like different horror movies and stories kind of told back to back. And in a 3-hour time slot, you get like two movies that like, they're not Academy Award winning movies by any means, but they're like those B level movies.
Oh,
they're
also
like you have a good
time. They're very C level, but they're great. I love
low C levels. Yeah, you have a good time. Greg, the whole point is that you have a lot of fun watching a double feature in the horror genre.
Yeah, well, Eli Roth and, of course, Quentin Tarantino did this. So I think that's probably where everyone's mind went immediately.
Yeah.
We'll see. I mean, hey, Angelica Ross said she's not watching this season. It's too scary. So I'm thinking, yeah, Planet Terror, here we come. Now, Ryan, this is a little bit of a stretch, but the teaser did, it had the line in there, one story by the sea, one story by the sand. And then I'm just thinking of the phrase, of course, from the Paul Revere poem, one if by land, two if by sea. Where Paul Revere warns everyone the British are coming. So it just seems too much like a coincidence that it's that close, and you can definitely have someone warning everybody that something's coming from the sea, and it's time to get yourselves together because something bad's about to come out of the sea. I can totally see that happening here, where you got the monsters in the sea. Yeah, you got the monsters in the ocean. You have like the Mayflower or someone else, or it could still all be present day for all we know. And then you have your everyone out in the ocean, and they get attacked by sirens or whatever else monsters are in there. And then sure enough, what if the sirens are now they're walking among us, and and you got to warn everyone. So I can totally see that.
I love that idea, and that would totally fit in the theme of being in Massachusetts. Obviously, you're in different cities, but like in different towns. But like I think it fits with the location and the proximity to when all those things that went down. Now, you mentioned earlier, Greg, Rocky Horror Picture Show, specific lyrics from the opening song. It's science fiction double feature. Yeah, do you think there could be some inspiration from Rocky Horror Picture Show in the upcoming season of AHS?
Absolutely. Even if it wasn't on this title, they're always going to pull from Rocky Horror Picture Show. So I think that's a definite here. I just don't know how they're going to use it. But again, it's AHS. It's going to happen. I wouldn't be shocked at all if they bring that up anywhere in this season or in seasons in the future too. everyone always pulls from Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Science fiction, double feature.
Okay, Ryan, I made some guesses earlier in the season on titles, including one point I was certain it was going to be Boardwalk or Mayflower. And then today, today right before I was like, it was around like noon, I was like, all right, final guesses. I think it's going to be Night Shift or Night Surf. And what were your titles?
Mine, I was sold on Seaside. I thought it would just be like all like just like an eastern seaboard, like over there in the Northeast. All the horror elements start, go down there. But obviously we knew they were going to L.A. And I also thought maybe that they would just like, keep it Pilgrim, like the secret, the working title that they're filming under. Mm-hmm. I thought that like Pilgrim would be a fitting, for the location and proximity of where they're filming.
I was way off.
But you know what? Let's look at everyone else's guesses in the comments too and see if anyone got close. AHS Black Flash. I'm guessing they may have gotten in trouble with DC if they they probably could have gotten.
Yes.
They may
exactly have, wrong Black Flash.
Yeah, wrong. Yeah. Can't go with that one. The lawyers are calling. Then we had AHS Dunes. Again,
I like Dunes.
Dunes too.
That would be. That's a good clue that we saw in the Instagrams from Ryan Murphy. But maybe it just kind of gives you one location. And Dunes actually would work, by the beach and in the desert.
It would.
You have dunes. You have sand dunes everywhere.
Again, I still think because again Warner Brothers and lawyers, I feel like that's still a phone call. I feel like that still you may have to work some things out there, especially when the movie's coming out this year. Next up, we have AHS Sirens. There's already a show with sirens in the title, so I felt like that wasn't going to happen. That was a no-go from the jump.
Maybe not for the title, but like maybe we'll see sirens in the show itself. Mm-hmm. But just for a title, I don't think that they could use sirens.
Yep. AHS Lighthouse. Again, it's still too recent, and I just feel like they didn't want to crib on anyone else's stuff, so they didn't go with it. Again, that's a good title still. I would use that in the future at some point, but obviously Lighthouse, at this point, you can't use that right now. AHS Ghost Ship, this is the title since season 2. Everyone has kept thinking they're gonna do Ghost Ship at some point, and they probably will, but not yet. Apparently not yet. American Horror Story Social Distancing. Brandon, I like where your head's at, but yeah, I don't think they're going to go anywhere near that this time.
Greg, too soon, Greg.
And
give us a few years.
Don't do it. I'm telling you right now, do not do it. Don't do it like you did Trump.
No.
And do not do a cult season. That it's too soon. I've seen so many shows doing this right now, and it's so cringy. It's 100% cringe and absolutely
Agreed.
Nope. So please don't do it. AHS Gilligan's Island. Yes. Again, lawyers. Just think lawyers are calling here. Not happening.
Not happening.
Now, WandaVision spoilers, but here we go. AHS Evan Peters isn't Quicksilver in this show either.
That was just such a troll job from anyone that's following WandaVision.
Put him in the leather
AHS,
jacket. Just stick him in that leather jacket again.
Exactly. But we love you, Evan Peters, so it's all good. All right, guys, that'll do it for us here. But obviously, make sure you're subscribed because we have a lot more AHS stuff coming down the pipeline. As soon as we hear more news on Double Feature Season 10, we will definitely have a reaction video for you guys. We're looking for that teaser, that trailer. Right,
Soon.
Greg? I mean, that's when the real fun stuff happens.
Soon. I'm sure the editing team's got something going right now. They're brewing on it. They got something going, but it's just going to be a few weeks.
Hell yes. So, guys, make sure you're subscribed. Hit that like button if you enjoyed this video, and we will see you soon. Take care.
Bye-bye.